I've been sitting on this bench for a long time. I've seen every flavor of idiot, every shade of liar, and every variety of person who thinks their bank account buys them a different set of rules. But never have I felt my blood pressure spike so fast as it did on the morning of Tuesday, November 14th. That was the day political arrogance walked into my courtroom on crocodile skin heels and tried to wipe its feet on an honest man's dignity. And if you want to hear exactly what happened, hit that subscribe button right now, because this story is not just a case. It's a lesson that took one very expensive woman a very long time to learn. The file hit my desk the afternoon before. Simple, disorderly conduct at an elementary school, or so it looked. My court clerk, Martha, set the folder down with a sigh that told me everything. She stuck a bright red sticky note on the front. Judge, you need to brace yourself. The video evidence in here, it is truly hard to watch. The defendant was Eleanor Sterling, 45 years old, wife of State Senator Michael Sterling, the man running for his third term with the slogan, "For the working people." Ironically, his wife was standing before the bar for trampling on those exact people. The next morning, Elena walked into my courtroom like she was attending a fundraising gala. Platinum blonde updo, custom Chanel suit, $5,000 minimum, a crocodile skin Hermes Birkin on her arm, Jimmy Choo heels clicking a rhythm of pride against my courthouse floor. Trailing behind her, 3 lawyers in glossy black suits from the most expensive firm in the city. She sat down, removed her Dior sunglasses, looked around the courtroom like she'd accidentally wandered into the wrong zip code, and pulled out her phone, scrolling, completely ignoring my presence. In 30 years on this bench, nobody has done that. That was strike one. On the other side of the room, shrinking into a hard wooden bench, was Mr. Arthur Jenkins, 68 years old, janitor at Lincoln Elementary for 25 years. Dark blue uniform, faded at the shoulders, fraying at the cuffs, rough, calloused hands clasped tightly in his lap. Beside him, no expensive lawyers, just a young public defender trying to calm him down. The contrast was not lost on me. Not for a second. I banged the gavel. "Mrs. Sterling, do you understand why you are here today?" She didn't even stand. She let out a theatrical sigh and whispered to her lead attorney. Her lawyer, Richard, industrial-grade smile, stood up on her behalf. "Your Honor, my client believes this is a disastrous misunderstanding. She is the victim of a political smear campaign aimed at her husband. We move for an immediate dismissal of all charges." "Dismissal," he said. "Dismissal. Counselor, I have read the indictment. Your client is charged with third-degree assault, disorderly conduct, and harassment. So before you say misunderstanding again, think carefully." Elena spoke up herself, still not looking at Mr. Arthur. "It was just a minor scuffle. He ruined my Mo 00 shoes. I should be the one suing him for property damage." The courtroom went silent. "You say he ruined your shoes?" I said, my voice dropping. "The indictment says you forced him to get on his knees and lick them clean. So let's skip the opinions and watch the video. I deal in facts." The monitor flickered to life. Date stamp, November 14th, 2:15 p.m., Lincoln Elementary, main hallway. On screen, Mr. Arthur slowly pushing a heavy mop bucket, doing his job, cleaning muddy footprints left by hundreds of kids. And this is important. He placed a bright yellow wet floor sign right in the center of the hallway. He was following protocol. He was doing everything right. Then the door swung open. Elena Sterling burst into frame, not walking, storming, phone to her ear, head down, completely ignoring the world around her. She walked right past the yellow warning sign. Her handbag clipped the mop handle. The bucket wobbled, tipped, and a small splash of soapy water hit the toe of her left shoe. An accident caused entirely by her own haste. What happened next made my stomach turn. Elena froze, looked at her shoe, looked at Mr. Arthur, didn't check if she'd hurt him, didn't apologize. She threw her phone in her bag and lunged at him. "You stupid, blind old fool." Her voice rang out clear on the recording. Mr. Arthur flinched, hands up to his chest. "Look what you did. This is Italian suede. I'm so sorry, ma'am." Mr. Arthur's voice was barely a whisper. He bent down, knees cracking, and reached for a rag to dry her shoe. "Let me help you." I didn't mean to. And that's when it happened. As Mr. Arthur reached out with the rag, Elena kicked his hand away. Not a nudge, a sharp, vicious kick with the point of her heel. The rag skittered across the hallway. "Don't touch me with that filthy rag." You want to act like a piece of trash? Then clean it like one. Get down there. Use your mouth. A gasp swept the courtroom. Even Elena's lawyer looked away. Ma'am, I said clean it or I will call the superintendent and have you fired before you can stand up. You lose your pension, you lose your health insurance. Is that what you want? I paused the video. The image froze on Mr. Arthur, defeated, broken, hovering inches from her shoe, while Elena stood over him with a look of pure satisfaction. Lights back up. Elena was checking her cuticles. She looked up, saw me staring, and had the nerve to roll her eyes. It looks worse on video than it actually was. He was being dramatic, and besides, he didn't actually do it. The principal stopped him. So, really, no harm done, right? No harm done, I repeated. 2 words, loudest thing said in that room all morning. I looked at Mr. Arthur. He was weeping silently, face buried in those rough, calloused hands. Mrs. Sterling, you threatened a man's pension, his health care, his ability to eat over a water spot on a shoe. He's a janitor, Judge. It's his job to clean messes. My husband is a senator. We have standards. Your husband is a public servant, and you just admitted to using his position to terrorize a citizen. I turned to the prosecutor. Is there more? Yes, Your Honor. When Principal Higgins came out to stop this, Mrs. Sterling didn't stop. She turned her rage on the school staff. Call Mrs. Higgins. Elena leaned back and smirked. Let the little teacher talk. My husband approves the school budget. Let's see what she dares to say. In my courtroom, she'll dare to say everything. Mrs. Sarah Higgins took the stand. Small woman, sensible cardigan, reading glasses on a chain, 30 years shaping young minds, but her hands were trembling so badly the water in her cup was rippling. Elena was staring at her from the defense table like a viper. I heard the commotion from my office. When I came out, I saw Mr. Arthur about to kneel. I ran over and grabbed his arm. I told him, Arthur, get up. You do not do that. And how did the defendant react? She was furious. She pointed her finger in my face and said, if you stop him, you're next. She told me her husband sits on the State Appropriations Committee. She said she would slash Lincoln Elementary's budget to 0. She said she would turn our school into a parking lot if I didn't show her proper respect. Let me be clear about what that is. That is not a temper tantrum. That is extortion. Liar. Elena slammed her hand on the table. That is a blatant lie. I never said that. Sit down, Mrs. Sterling. One more outburst and you will be in contempt faster than you can say Chanel. She sat. She has no proof, she muttered into the microphone. It's her word against mine. The prosecutor smiled, not a happy smile, the smile of someone who'd been waiting for exactly this. Actually, Your Honor, we do have proof. Mrs. Sterling sent an email to the district superintendent 7 minutes after the incident. We subpoenaed it. May I read it for the record? Proceed. The room went dead silent. Subject line, urgent, Lincoln Elementary staffing. Body. The staff at Lincoln are incompetent and disrespectful, specifically Principal Higgins and the janitor. I want them both gone by tomorrow morning. If they are still employed when Michael reviews the budget next week, expect 0 funding for the district's renovation projects. Fix this mess or I will fix your career. The gasp in that courtroom could have fogged windows. Black and white written evidence. She had tried to destroy 2 careers and an entire school district's funding because she tripped over a mop. Mrs. Higgins, did the superintendent contact you? Yes. He called 10 minutes later. He asked if I could suspend Mr. Arthur for a few days, just to smooth things over. He said we couldn't afford to anger the Starings. So, I said slowly. You were asked to punish the victim to protect the bully. I refused. I told him Arthur did nothing wrong. I told him I would resign before I let Arthur take the fall. That's why I'm here today. I might lose my job for testifying, Judge, but I couldn't let Arthur stand alone. You will not lose your job, I said, eyes on Elena. Not while I'm sitting here. Defense? No cross-examination. Richard sat back down quietly. What? Elena hissed at him. Destroy her credibility. That's what I pay you for. Be quiet, Elena, Richard whispered back, loud enough for the front row. You handed them a smoking gun. Elena stood up anyway. Judge. So, I sent an angry email.